Mountains were never designed to control your life. You were designed to speak to them with authority. Too often we allow challenges, delays, and fears to dictate our direction. But the truth is this: your words were created with the power to shift atmospheres, break strongholds, and command results. Life responds to the voice of faith. Lack responds to silence, but abundance responds to declaration. There is a spiritual law that what you speak consistently becomes the environment you live in. If you speak weakness, you strengthen the very mountain standing in your way. But when you speak life, courage rises. When you speak faith, pathways open. Mountains move not because they are small, but because the authority within you is greater than the obstacle before you. Every challenge carries two possible outcomes. It can either oppress you, or it can reveal the authority inside you. Problems try to intimidate, but they cannot withstand bold faith. You were never called to describe the mountain. You were called to command it. You do not negotiate with fear. You do not entertain doubt. You speak directly to the thing that stands between you and the promise. And when you speak with conviction, heaven backs your voice. Authority in Christ is not passive. It is confrontational. It refuses to shrink back. It refuses to agree with defeat. It refuses to let circumstances have the final word. You do not wait for the mountain to move. You command it to move. You do not speak for us about the mountain. You speak us to it. Every time you use your words intentionally, you enforce victory that has already been given. Your mountain may look impossible, but impossibility bows to spiritual authority. Speak life over your mind. Speak life over your finances. Speak life over your destiny. Speak life over your family. Refuse to rehearse the language of lack. Refuse to repeat what fear whispers. Choose words that align with faith, with hope, with the identity you carry. Your voice carries creative power. Your words carry weight. And when life presses you, do not echo the pressure. Command your mountain to move. Mountains don't control you. You have the authority to speak to them. Too many people spend their lives thinking mountains are immovable forces that must be tolerated, managed, or escaped. But mountains, whether they are emotional battles, financial struggles, spiritual pressures, or life-changing decisions, were never meant to define your destiny. They are obstacles, not limitations. They stand in front of you, but they do not determine where you end up. The authority within you is always greater than the height of the mountain before you. A mountain becomes powerful only when you allow it to speak louder than your faith. When you focus on its size, you minimize your own strength. When you continually talk about how hard, heavy, or impossible your situation is, you magnify the mountain instead of the authority placed inside you. But when you shift your mindset and recognize that you are not a victim of circumstances, but a carrier of spiritual authority, everything changes. Mountains lose their intimidation when you remember who you are and what you carry. Speaking to your mountain is not about pretending the problem doesn't exist. It is about refusing to let the problem dictate the outcome. You acknowledge the challenge, but you do not surrender to it. You confront it with words rooted in faith, not fear. A mountain listens when you speak from conviction. It responds when your words carry the certainty that what you declare must align with the authority you stand in. You were not designed to whisper in the presence of obstacles. You were created to command them. Authority is not a feeling. It is a position. You may not always feel strong, confident, or powerful. You may face moments of doubt, pressure, and discouragement. But authority isn't based on emotional stability. It is based on identity. Mountains move because of who you are, not how you feel. Even when you feel weak, authority remains. Even when your faith feels small, authority still speaks. Even when the situation looks unchanged, your voice carries the power to shift reality. Speaking to the mountain means taking responsibility for the direction of your life. It means refusing to sit quietly while circumstances attempt to control your decisions. It means using your voice as a spiritual instrument that creates movement. When you speak to the mountain, you interrupt its influence. You declare that delay will not stop you, fear will not hold you, and lack will not define you. You become an active participant in your breakthrough instead of a silent observer. Mountains often test how you speak under pressure. Many people speak differently when life feels heavy. Their words become shaped by stress instead of shaped by faith. But authority requires consistency, speaking life even when life feels uncertain. When you continue declaring truth in the face of opposition, the mountain eventually shifts. It has no choice but to respond because you were never meant to live under circumstances. You were meant to rise above them. The moment you begin speaking with authority, something awakens inside you. Confidence grows, courage rises, clarity returns. You stop agreeing with defeat and start aligning with victory. You stop rehearsing problems and start commanding solutions. You stop allowing the mountain to speak first and start taking control of the conversation. Mountains don't move because they are impressed with your strength. They move because you understand your authority. You were not placed in the world to be controlled by obstacles. You were placed to overcome them. And when you use your voice with purpose, intent, and faith, every mountain, no matter how long it has stood, how high it reaches, or how intimidating it looks, must bow to the authority within you. Your words create the environment you live in, so speak life, not lack. Every word that leaves your mouth carries energy, direction, and influence. Words are not empty sounds. They are seeds that take root and grow into attitudes, habits, and outcomes. What you repeatedly speak becomes the atmosphere around your mind, your decisions, and your future. Many people underestimate the power of their own voice, not realizing that their daily speech is shaping their reality, either strengthening their faith or strengthening their fears. When you speak lack, something inside you begins to shrink. You start seeing limitations where opportunities exist. You begin to expect difficulty instead of breakthrough, scarcity instead of abundance, struggle instead of progress. Negative words don't just describe your circumstances, they reinforce them. They create mental walls that are often stronger than the actual problem itself. A person who constantly says, "I can't," "I never," or "nothing ever works for me," eventually lives inside the prison built by their own speak. But when you choose to speak life, you breathe strength into your spirit. You ignite creativity, courage, and resilience. Speaking life doesn't mean ignoring reality. It means refusing to let reality silence what is possible. It is choosing to declare what can be instead of repeating only what is. When you say, "I will rise above this," "I am able," "things will turn for my good," your words begin to shift your inner atmosphere. They activate clarity, discipline, and hope. They position you to recognize solutions you couldn't see before. Your words create momentum. They can move you forward or hold you back. Every statement becomes a step either toward your purpose or away from it. That is why speaking life is not just about positive thinking. It is about aligning yourself with faith, strength, and the identity you carry. Words spoken with conviction have the power to break mental barriers and shatter internal limits. They remind your mind what your spirit already knows, that you are not defined by lack but by the authority and potential within you. Speaking life also influences how others respond to you. The environment you build with your words affects the people around you. When you consistently speak hope and confidence, you attract solutions, support, and opportunities. People are drawn to those who carry a language of possibility. But when your vocabulary is filled with lack, negativity, and doubt, it repels the very help you need. Speaking life doesn't just reshape your inner world, it reshapes your relationships, your decisions, and your external results. Words have a way of echoing even after you speak them. They stay in your mind and in the minds of those who hear them. That is why speaking life must become a habit, not a rare moment of inspiration. Even on difficult days, your voice must be trained to respond with faith. Even when things look uncertain, your mouth must remain aligned with hope. A consistent confession creates a consistent environment, and a consistent environment creates consistent growth. The truth is this: you live inside the world your words build. If you sow life, you reap strength. If you sow faith, you reap progress. If you sow hope, you reap possibility. But if you sow lack, if you continue speaking defeat, failure, and fear, you will live in the shadow of what you continually speak. You have the authority to change your atmosphere. You have the power to shift your reality. And it begins with the words you choose every single day. Challenges reveal your inner authority when faced with bold faith. Every person encounters seasons where life feels overwhelming, moments when pressure increases, obstacles appear from every direction, and the path forward becomes unclear. In those moments, it is easy to believe the challenge is here to break you, weaken you, or hold you back. But challenges are not sent to crush your identity. They are allowed to expose the authority already within you. Pressure does not diminish who you are. It reveals who you have always been. Authority that is never tested remains undeveloped. You cannot discover the depth of your strength until something pushes against it. Just like muscles grow through resistance, your spiritual authority becomes evident when challenges rise up. Without difficulty, you never learn the power inside you. Without resistance, you never understand your capacity. Without a mountain, you never discover the force of your own voice. Challenges are not barriers, they are training grounds that pull greatness out of you. Bold faith is not loud or dramatic, it is steady, confident, and unwavering. It is the courage to stand firm even when nothing around you has changed yet. Bold faith speaks when the situation says to stay silent. Bold faith moves when fear says to freeze. Bold faith declares victory even while standing in the middle of uncertainty. It is the kind of faith that does not negotiate with doubt but confronts it. When you operate in bold faith, challenges lose their grip because they cannot intimidate someone who knows their authority. The moments that try to break you are often the very moments that build you. A challenge might show you your weaknesses, but it also shows you your hidden strength. It pushes you to use your voice, to step into confidence, to activate your faith, and to trust what you carry. Every challenge forces you to choose. Will you shrink or will you rise? Will you echo fear or will you declare truth? Will you let the situation control you or will you use your authority to confront it? The challenge itself doesn't decide, your response does. Authority grows when tested. Many people want victory without confrontation, strength without struggle, and growth without pressure. But it is the struggle that expands your capacity. It is the confrontation that sharpens your voice. It is the pressure that awakens your identity. When life squeezes you, what comes out reveals what is inside. And when bold faith rises from within you during hardship, it becomes clear that you are not governed by the size of the challenge, but by the authority you carry. Challenges also clarify your vision. In easy seasons, you may drift or become comfortable, but pressure forces you to focus. It strips away distractions and reveals what truly matters. It pushes you to evaluate what you believe, what you speak, and what you stand for. When your back is against the wall, you find out whether you trust fear or faith. You discover whether your identity is anchored in the situation or in the authority placed within you. Every challenge is an invitation to step into a greater version of yourself. It calls out the warrior in you, the leader in you, the fighter in you, and the overcomer in you. You might feel weak in the moment, but authority is not based on feelings. It is based on truth. And the truth is that you carry the power to rise above whatever tries to hold you down. Bold faith doesn't remove the challenge instantly, but it transforms you while you face it. And when you step into that place of inner authority, challenges stop being threats and start becoming opportunities for you to demonstrate the strength inside you. Don't describe the mountain, command it to move. Many people spend their entire lives talking about their problems, analyzing them, explaining them, repeating them, and allowing them to grow larger through constant focus. The more you describe the mountain, the more real, powerful, and immovable it becomes in your mind. Words shape perception, and perception shapes reality. When you keep rehearsing what's wrong, your mind becomes trained to expect defeat. You begin to believe that the mountain is permanent, that the situation has authority over you, and that you are too small to overcome it. But you were never called to give your obstacles so much attention. You were never instructed to study the mountain, fear the mountain, or accept the mountain. You were called to confront it with authority. Commanding the mountain does not come from arrogance, but from identity. Knowing who you are, what power you carry, and what has already been given to you. When you command a mountain to move, you are not relying on your strength. You are relying on spiritual authority that transcends the obstacle's size. Describing the mountain keeps you stuck. Commanding it moves you forward. Talking about the mountain feeds doubt. Speaking to the mountain activates faith. When you give problems more attention than promises, you strengthen the wrong thing. Fear grows when fed, but so does faith. The moment you stop rehearsing the problem and start declaring the solution, everything begins to shift. Your words create momentum. Your voice releases direction. When you speak with authority, the atmosphere responds. Commanding the mountain is not about emotion, it is about intention. Even if you feel fear, speak. Even if you feel uncertain, speak. Even if you feel discouraged, speak. Your feelings do not diminish the power of your words when spoken from a place of spiritual authority. The mountain does not move because you feel strong. It moves because your command is backed by a higher truth. Mountains respond to faith, not to fear. They shift when confronted by someone who refuses to bow to circumstances. Many people hesitate to command their mountains because they think it's unrealistic or too bold. But faith is bold. Faith speaks differently. Faith does not wait for visible change before taking action. Faith commands first and sees the results later. When you speak to the mountain, you are setting the expectation for the outcome. You are declaring what must align, what must shift, and what must fall. Your words become the blueprint for breakthrough. When you command your mountain, you reclaim control over your direction. Instead of being pushed, delayed, or discouraged by obstacles, you stand firm and dictate the outcome. You stop saying, "This is too big," and start saying, "You must move." You stop saying, "I don't know what to do," and start saying, "The way is opening for me." You stop speaking the language of defeat and start speaking the language of authority. Commanding the mountain also builds internal strength. Every time you declare truth, your confidence grows. Every command reinforces your identity. Every bold statement weakens the fear that once held you back. You become more aligned, more focused, and more courageous. You train your voice to respond with faith instead of panic, with authority instead of surrender. The mountain may not move instantly, but with every command it loses stability. With every declaration, its power weakens. With every word spoken in faith, the path becomes clearer. Mountains move for those who refuse to bow to them. Mountains obey those who speak with unwavering conviction. You were never designed to be impressed by obstacles. You were designed to command them. Authority in Christ is active and confrontational, not passive. Too many people treat spiritual authority as something quiet, gentle, or hidden, a belief that if they simply wait long enough, things will eventually get better. But true authority is not passive. It does not sit back while life pushes you around. It does not stay silent when fear, confusion, or opposition rises. Authority steps forward. Authority confronts. Authority takes action, speaks boldly, and refuses to let circumstances have the final say. Passivity allows problems to grow stronger. When you stay silent, mountains feel bigger. When you avoid confrontation, fear gains ground. When you hesitate, doubt takes root. Passivity is an invitation for the enemy to take advantage of your uncertainty. But active authority refuses to give space to anything that threatens your peace, purpose, or identity. It recognizes that spiritual battles are not won by hoping, they are won by speaking, declaring, commanding, and standing firm. Confrontational authority does not mean aggression towards people. It means aggression toward anything that tries to steal your strength, your clarity, or your destiny. When anxiety tries to overwhelm your thoughts, confront it with truth. When defeat whispers in your ear, confront it with faith. When circumstances seem impossible, confront them with bold declarations. Authority does not wait for conditions to improve. It improves the conditions by speaking directly to them. Active authority is intentional. It chooses to respond, not react. Reacting is emotional, but responding with authority is strategic. Instead of collapsing under pressure, you rise and confront it. Instead of repeating negative outcomes, you speak life. Instead of accepting defeat, you enforce victory. This is not wishful thinking. It is a posture of strength that shifts the spiritual environment around you. Authority also means refusing to agree with anything that contradicts your identity. When thoughts of fear come, you don't entertain them, you confront them. When voices of doubt speak, you don't repeat them, you push back against them. When circumstances look hopeless, you don't allow them to define you, you define the situation with your words. Authority protects your mind, your heart, and your direction by confronting anything that tries to weaken you. Many people struggle not because the enemy is strong, but because their response is inactive. They wait for someone else to fix what they have the authority to command. They wait for the mountain to move, but say nothing to it. They wait for clarity, but never confront confusion. Authority requires you to step into the battle, not observe from a distance. You win by engaging, by using your voice, your conviction, and your faith. Active authority is consistent. It doesn't rise only on good days. It shows up even when you feel tired, discouraged, or uncertain. It chooses discipline over emotion and identity over insecurity. It speaks truth even when everything around you seems opposite. And the more consistently you confront challenges with authority, the more natural and automatic it becomes. Authority is not loudness, but boldness. It's not anger, but confidence. It's not pride, but certainty. It is the inner knowing that you are not powerless, that you are not a victim, and that you do not have to surrender to circumstances. When you stand in that place of authority, passivity evaporates. You become someone who shapes situations instead of someone shaped by them. You confront what once intimidated you, and as you do, you discover that every obstacle bows to active, confrontational faith. Faith that refuses to retreat, refuses to be silent, and refuses to surrender any ground. Impossibility bows to spiritual authority when you speak in faith. Many situations in life appear unchangeable. Doors that seem permanently closed, problems that refuse to shift, battles that feel too heavy to win. These moments often convince people that what they see is final, that the circumstances they face are stronger than the authority they carry. But impossibility is not a barrier to faith. It is the stage where authority proves itself. What looks impossible in the natural world becomes movable when confronted by someone who understands the power of speaking with conviction. Impossibility has a way of intimidating the mind. It whispers that you are not capable, that the situation is too far gone, that the answer will never come. It magnifies the problem and minimizes your strength. But impossibility only has power when you agree with it. The moment you speak in faith, you break its influence. Faith refuses to surrender to what seems unchangeable. It refuses to accept limitations. It reaches to bow to circumstances. When you speak in faith, you remind the situation that it is not the final authority. Your voice, aligned with spiritual truth, carries greater power. Many people talk about their impossibilities, but few speak to them. They describe how big the problem is, how long it has lasted, how impossible the outcome appears. The more they speak about it, the more they empower it. But impossibility is designed to bow, not be admired. It is created to move, not remain. It will resist you only as long as you stay silent. The moment you confront it with bold faith, the grip of the impossible begins to loosen. Speaking in faith is not pretending. It is not ignoring reality. It is declaring a higher reality. When you speak from a place of spiritual authority, you are not describing what you see. You are declaring what must be. You lift your voice and command alignment, not based on emotion, but on truth. Faith does not agree with limitations, it overrides them. And impossibility cannot resist the force of a voice that knows its identity and speaks with unwavering conviction. Impossibility bows because spiritual authority carries creative power. What you speak in faith begins to shape outcomes. Words spoken in authority shift the atmosphere, break mental boundaries, and open doors that logic cannot explain. When you declare, "This situation will change," there is a breakthrough coming. "This barrier will not hold me," you activate a spiritual force that moves beyond physical limits. Impossibility recognizes authority and yields to it. This is why speaking in faith must become a lifestyle, not a moment. You don't speak once and give up. You speak consistently, confidently, and intentionally. Faith is strengthened through repetition. Every declaration reinforces your authority. Every word of truth weakens the impossibility that stands before you. Even if nothing changes immediately, something changes spiritually the moment you speak. The shift begins internally and eventually becomes visible externally. Impossibility bows when you refuse to let fear shape your speech. Fear says, "What if nothing happens?" Faith says, "What if everything changes?" Fear focuses on the mountain. Faith focuses on the authority within. Fear sees obstacles. Faith sees opportunities. Every time you speak in faith, you choose the posture of victory over the posture of defeat. You choose to push forward rather than shrink back. You choose to confront rather than surrender. There will always be moments in life that challenge your faith, but those moments also reveal your authority. Every impossibility you face is an invitation to step deeper into confidence, deeper into identity, and deeper into the power of your voice. When you speak with boldness, impossibility loses its stability. It cannot remain firm in the presence of spiritual authority. It cannot withstand the pressure of unwavering faith. It must shift, it must bend, and it must bow. And when it bows, you realize that nothing is truly impossible, only unspoken to. Your voice carries creative power, your words carry weight. And when life presses you, do not echo the pressure, command your mountain to move. Many people underestimate how powerful their voice truly is. They think speech is simply expression, something casual, something harmless. But your voice is a force. It builds, shapes, directs, and transforms. Every word you speak leaves an imprint on your mind, your emotions, and your future. When you understand this, you stop speaking carelessly and begin speaking intentionally. Creative power means that your words do more than communicate. They create. They form expectations, they form confidence, they form the inner environment you live in. When you repeat something long enough, your mind begins to align with it. If you speak limitation, you begin to see limitation. If you speak strength, you begin to feel strength. If you speak fear, fear grows. If you speak faith, faith rises. Your voice sets the direction your life follows. This is why silence in moments of pressure is dangerous. When you remain quiet, the pressure begins to speak for you. Circumstances start shaping your thoughts. Fear begins to write the script. But when you lift your voice and speak with authority, you interrupt the atmosphere. You stop the spiral of negativity before it becomes your reality. You take ownership of the moment. Pressure wants you to react emotionally, but authority teaches you to respond intentionally. Not echoing pressure means you refuse to repeat what fear says. Pressure says, "You're not going to make it." Authority says, "I will rise above this." Pressure says, "This situation is too much for you." Authority says, "I am equipped to overcome." Pressure says, "Give up." Authority says, "Keep moving." Your voice is the deciding factor. It chooses which message becomes dominant. You don't deny the pressure, but you refuse to give it your voice. The moment you give pressure your words, you give it your power. Commanding your mountain to move is an act of spiritual alignment. You are speaking to the obstacle, not about it. You are declaring change, not describing difficulty. You are releasing authority, not surrendering to fear. A mountain remains still as long as you stay silent. But when you command it, when you speak directly to it with conviction, something begins to shift. Even if you don't see immediate change, the spiritual atmosphere responds the moment you speak. Your voice is the trigger for breakthrough. Not your emotions, not your fears, not your doubts, your voice. When life presses you, you will feel the weight, but you get to choose the response. If you echo the pressure grows. If you echo truth, the pressure weakens. Authority is not about shouting, it is about certainty. When your words carry conviction, even softly spoken, they travel with force. Your voice also influences your inner strength. Every time you speak faith, you reinforce your identity. Every time you declare life, you weaken the hold of insecurity. Every time you command the mountain, you strengthen your courage. Your words train your spirit. They sharpen your focus. They awaken your resilience. The more you use your voice intentionally, the more powerful it becomes. Creative power grows with practice. The more you speak with authority, the more natural it feels. The more you command obstacles instead of describing them, the more confident you become in your identity. Your voice becomes a tool of transformation, something you wield, something you control, something you use to shape your path. And as you continue to speak with boldness, you will realize that mountains were never meant to stop you. They were meant to reveal the power of your voice.